Welcome to those that have joined Navigating the Maze, a comprehensive look at the state-based systems. I am Renee Brownfield, a manager at the NAIC, and it's my privilege to be able to welcome you to this session, our last pre-conference session for the Insurance Summit. As you are joining the session, you'll notice that you have been muted, so you would not be able to verbally ask questions, but we do welcome you to type them in the chat. And when we pause for questions, I will be able to read those back to our presenter. If you need to get CE credit, which continuing education credit for this session, make sure and watch for the Slido questions that pop up so that you can answer those so that we can validate that you are here with us. If you're having any technical issues, please post those in the chat as well, and we'll be able to get those answered quickly. So it's now my privilege to announce our presenter, Trish Scahan. She has worked at the NAIC for 27 years, with 11 of those years supporting SBS. She is the product owner on the SBS team, focusing on market regulation, company, and transaction manager. Prior to working with SBS, Trish has worked hard supporting the NAIC Compact Database System and market analysis software. Trish lives in Olathe, Kansas with her family and cherishes her time with her granddaughters. So welcome, Trish, and we'll turn our session over to you.
Well, welcome everyone to our overview of SBS today. First, I want to let everyone know that SBS it does stand for state-based systems, and we are a back office system that supports regulators' daily activities. We also have components that integrate with other NAIC systems and other outside of the NAIC systems. And we have components that do communication with industry and with consumers, um, making sure that we have good communication and collaboration around all areas of the needs of a back office system. Today I'm going to be talking to you about SBS, who we serve, what our accomplishments are what we are working on, and what services and products that we offer. And then we're going to ask the question, and I'm going to try to answer it for you, why SBS? And then we'll have some open questions. If time allows, I will also be presenting a short demo. So let's start with SBS functionality. So looking at our kind of our core areas of functionality, we have licensing. In licensing, we support company. This includes company appointments, certificates of authority, and just expirations, renewals, those kinds of licensing that you would do with company. We also have a continuing education, so we license the system helps license providers and approve courses for continuing education. We also provide CE transcripts. And for producer, we provide, licensing, originals, renewals, amendments, additional appointment information. And this also is something that, we have a license, standard kind of license print for. There's unregulated or regulated industries. So these are not exactly companies. So there may be like a funeral or cemetery areas. So we do have kind of an area where you can manage things that don't fit into the normal insurance world that any state may have underneath their jurisdiction or regulatory control, but doesn't necessarily fit into that bucket of insurance. And then we also have a revenue service. And this revenue service, we actually, track fees. There is a lot that we can do as far as like invoicing and the collection of fees from states, not from states, but from industry. Then we have, so that's kind of the licensing part of regulation that we support, but we also support some of the regulatory functions, the consumer protection world for and case management. So we have consumer services where we offer consumer assistance, case type, along with a complaint and an inquiry. And kind of the difference of those are, consumer assistance is kind of like when the phone rings and you want to document your phone calls. Inquiries are things that are just like a complaint, but you don't want them to go over to the NEIC's complaint database system. So all the closed complaints in our complaints case, they do go over to the NEIC's CDS database so that not only consumers but other regulators can look at those when they are making their licensing and regulation decisions. We also have an enforcement module. And this is integrated with the RIER's information retrieval system or in our regulatory information retrieval system known as RIER's. So there you're given an option on whether or not you want to upload those to RIER's within that case. So there's helps you with those enforcements, whether that be a body doing wrong or you're just wanting to just acknowledging that a license was denied. And that information is also then used in licensing decisions by other states. Then we have our external healthcare review system. And this is a case type that has a component to it that allows you to directly communicate with independent review organizations. So those independent review organizations and the regulators can help meet those short deadlines they have to make sure that those in need and needing medical care and consideration for those medical decisions on claims are met quickly. In addition to that, we have an investigation. So our investigations is case type is integrated with the online fraud reporting service. So if the state chooses, those reports of fraud can be brought right into the investigation case model where they can be worked. And that is something that everything in there has a special layer of security for to ensure that none of that information is shared with anyone other than the exact people in the state that is chosen to be able to see that highly confidential information. We also have market conduct exams. So we know that and market analysis. So those are also great tools to help with the regulation of companies in their state to see who actually needs an exam, who may have a concerning spike in a different measure where they would want to, conduct an exam and help protect those consumers. And we have an industry component. So we've collected all this wonderful information that's used by regulators. And we don't stop there. We also offer services to industry based off of that data and others. One of the main things we have a lot of usage, we offer a complaint form. So this complaint form can be used by the public to file a complaint. It automatically creates a complaint or an inquiry case in SBS and allows that quick information to get to the regulators so they can start investigating and helping resolve the consumer's complaints. We have a license manager and license manager. This is where with a login, an individual with the proper permissions can see the selected set of licensees. They can print licenses. They can see the education transcripts. They can get notifications about the need for a renewal, or maybe if a new doing business name was added to that licensee. So there's a lot of great information in License Manager, but that is a login tool. And then we have a non-login tool for lookup. This lookup can be used by anyone. So it is a free service that they allows them to look up, agents, agencies, companies, courses. For those that are that are agents and agencies, they can look up providers, they can look up courses to help with their continuing education. We also have something as a report generator. This is a no login tool, but it allows anyone to go in and run a report with multiple results. And there is a small fee for the use of that service. And then we have SBS for organizations. And SBS for organizations is also a login tool. So with the proper credentials, an individual can see their company information. They can update their address, email, phone number, contact information. And most companies have a large number of different contact types, whether that's a compliance officer or maybe that's a service of process contact. And they are also able to manage some of those contact types externally to make sure that if the state needed to, they can quickly and accurately get information to the or company. And in all of this, we have three major components or capabilities within each one of them. We have an attachment feature, and in this attachment feature has unlimited number of attachments that can be added. So in company, producer, and enforcement, in all of these different areas, we have attachments. Unlimited number. We do have a small limitation on the type of attachments. We don't let you upload anything executable. And there is some size limitations is somewhere between 10 and 20 megabytes. A lot of that has to do with the performance of that upload, but you can upload a zip file. So if your files are large, they can be zipped and uploaded to our system. We have this fabulous communication capability called correspondence. And what correspondence is we can create templates, standard templates that can be used either on an individual basis or for a large group of individuals all at once, and they can be sent out through email. This the large what we call large volume correspondence, you actually can generate a list of who you want that correspondence to go to, and it will run overnight and send it out to however many entities that you would like to send to. It also has the capability of modifying that template slightly, um, the content, verbiage, in um, to customize any correspondence that you might need to customize. Also, in our correspondence, we have a feature or kind of a service or capabilities of adding what we call tokens. And those tokens are like the mail merge tags of the world, where it actually can go out and pull from the database specific information about that entity in order to customize that correspondence and be able to do the large volume. And you don't have to look it up and modify specific information in each token. You can use the template. The tokens will just pull from the database. And then impressively enough to me, reporting needs seem to always be in list. But SBS has a large variety of types of reporting that we do. We have some canned reports that may tell you things about a license, recent changes, licensee counts, company counts, that kind of thing. We also provide some data extracts. And in the data extracts, what you do is you tell us what criteria you're looking for and what columns you want in the results of that. And you can run that report, and on an ad hoc basis. And you can also save that criteria in those columns so it can be repeatable. In addition to that, we offer what we call data exchanges, and that's where we can send data to a state, normally through an FTP process, so that data can be used however the state feels best. Most of the cases for a data exchange are that the state wants to feed data from SBS into another state system. We also have some Tableau reports. Everybody loves their graphs and charts, and Tableau does a wonderful job for that for us. We are always exploring more options for Tableau reports. And then soon we will be using Snowflake to also provide some reporting options. I don't know a lot about Snowflake right now, but I think it gives you a lot of flexibility on criteria, unlike the data extracts where we have only certain criteria. Snowflake, my understanding, will let you kind of use any kind of criteria you want, any kind of set of results that you want, as long as, of course, the data is available. So we have some things going on there. But let's talk about some of, let's talk about some of the other technological kind of updates that SBS has been working on. Recently, we completed some large volume invoicing. So we do have, with the revenue service, we have the ability to create an invoice and now the ability to create many invoices for many entities all at once, and to actually email those invoices out. We have a payment portal where with an invoice, once you received an invoice, you would be able to go out to this payment portal and pay that invoice. Some of the invoice integration is still in development, but right now we do have the payment portal is available without the invoicing. And coming soon, we're going to be able to allow those providers that hold courses for continuing education, quite frequently with large numbers of participants, to, instead of logging into SBS and uploading a data file or doing manual entry on those that have completed that continuing education, we will have a system-to-system communication available. And with the implementation of that system-to-system communication and providing those completed courses, there will be electronic invoicing for those providers. So they can provide us the course completion information now and get invoiced later. This also helps to streamline the CE compliance that needs to be accomplished so people can renew in a timely manner. Oops. We're also working on market regulation summary pages. This is a version 2. And this is bringing our market regulation services into a different technology. This technology improves performance. And one reason why we would want to improve performance is right now in our market regulation, we have 12 different case types. I've only highlighted a few of them for you here, but we have 12 of them. And we want to be able to expand that, and we want to be able to make sure that our users have good performance. So moving to this new technology will not only accomplish those performance goals, but that also will allow for a better user experience by trying to reduce clicks, making things clearer on the screen, and be more uniform and consistent with each other and other areas of SBS. Coming soon, sooner than most probably believe, but we have portals. We actually have a consumer complaint portal that is under development, that I will give you just a brief preview of at the end of this, if as long as time allows. And we have a company complaint portal, which we piloted with the state of Kansas and is now in production. We are going to be making efforts to work with other states to get them on board with the company complaint portal. What both of these portals do is they allow for direct communication between the regulator and the consumer, or the regulator and the company, regarding complaints. The consumer and company would be able to upload attachments that may be data that was requested by the regulator, or just information that they're wanting the regulator to have as they work that complaint. Now, the direct communication that I talked about is just kind of like sending a note, and when an attachment or a note is added to either the regulator side or the industry side in these portals, there's a notification that is created and sent out. So the consumer is not sitting there going, oh, I think today I need to log in and find out if something was added to my complaint. They would get an email that would let them know, hey, we have some new information for you. And that would help them manage their time better. And for the company, it's the same thing. There's going to be those notifications to let them know that there is additional information waiting. Now, these complaints will stay out there up until 30 days after the complaint is closed. That way, the consumer and the company have an opportunity to know and review any closed complaints. So before I move on, do we have any questions at this point, Renee?
We do. We have one. Oh, it looks like Michelle just answered it. So Michelle
Uh,
Wilson is online and she's taking
Oh,
care of that.
thank
So
you,
we're
Michelle.
good. Thank you.
Yay. All right. I'll go on, move on. So SBS is the system of choice where we have 5 million active licenses in SBS from those states that you can see in this pretty blue teal color, everywhere from Rhode Island to Hawaii, uh, just across our great nation here. And for those 5 million active licenses, we last year we processed 15 million transactions to help manage those licenses. Those transactions are coming from NIPR. So we have a great integration there. And some of those changes would be new producer, business entity, or individual, new applications, renewals, appointments, amendments, where they're adding new LOAs or removing LOAs, and also DRLP changes or a primary name change. So all that functionality, lots of movement, lots of things where it's initiated by the agent, it's initiated by the agency, and then based off of the state's business rules is whether or not it pins in an application for your review before it's approved, or if you just want it to go through, there is an auto approve process. So it meets our business rules, please just do the work and get that license update. Along with that, those 2,000 regulators that are in SBS have uh, just an enormous advantage with those types of integration. So we do have a large user base, and as you can see, we have the education providers and the companies in there. So we do have more than 50% of the NAIC members using SBS today. And that is a total of 33 states today. But SBS is always talking to states about coming into SBS. And with that, I'm going to go to the next page and we'll take a look at what's next. So this is our service usage. So who's using SBS and how are they using SBS? So in SBS, back in 2003, that's 21 years ago, we started out with 4 states, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, District of Columbia. And we have these core components, producer, education, company, consumer, and enforcement. And we have learned over those years that to get the most out of SBS, to get the most integration with NAIC systems, we highly encourage that a state come on and implement all of our core services. With all of the electronic go paperless check in the world, we are also encouraging now that we come on with the revenue service. Now, of these services, Arizona has implemented 11 of our services or products. And so they are use the SBS the most. But in close running, we have 4 states that have 10 services implemented. That's Alaska, Connecticut, Idaho, and Missouri. Now you have the ability to implement services out there. So let's say you came on with the core services and then later learned that you wanted external healthcare review, because you really want to be able to work with those independent review organizations in a quick manner. You can, we can implement just that one service. So we are always working with all of our existing states to see if we can help them implement new services. And this is our external website. So SBS has that external website. This is our connection, our communication with the non-regulator users. We have some no login tools that I've already mentioned. Look up print license, print your education transcript, and report generator. We also give you some quick links to go over to NIPR and help manage your license. Whether you're applying for a license, renewing one, maybe there's a reason the state has asked for some additional information and you would like to provide that documentation along with that license application. There's the attachment warehouse. And then we have the ability to update contact information. So your address changes, your phone number, that type of information. You've got these quick links over here so you can jump over to NIPR and do those modifications. Also from SBS, if we were to select a state, we would also see there's that login tool for SBS for organizations that I talked about, and SBS for organizations and managing those contact information, and then license manager is also a login tool that we provide. So now I'm going to just kind of talk about some of our 2023 accomplishments. So as you can see, I have on here state implementation and new products. So we are always wanting to provide more states with the services that we already have. And we're always looking to improve the products and services that we have available to the SBS states. So last year in 2023 for West Virginia, we implemented enforcement which included data migration effort. For Oklahoma, they implemented external healthcare review, and Kansas implemented the company service. As far as new products, we have this market regulation V2, which I kind of explained already what that project is, but it is a multi-year project. With those 12 case types, it's going to take us a couple of years to get that all updated. So as we have the value of the market regulation V2 available, we will be making it available to the states, and we'll continue to add and provide information and new sections, new pieces of that summary pages until that project is completed. So we're not waiting till it's completely done. We're working in an agile methodology to get, when we have business value to add to a state, we're getting that out to the state as soon as we can for use and feedback for us. So we do have a large feedback loop here in SBS too. We did expand our large volume invoicing to support individuals and business entities. So much like most of the times in SBS, what we did was we developed large volume invoicing, and we did that just for companies. That seemed to be the major need of the states when we talked to them. And then once that was in production, it's running, things are going smoothly, then we ask, is there any other entities that you would like to do large volume invoicing for? And we did get feedback that individuals and business entities would be of value to the state. So then we did those development efforts to add those two additional entity types. So lots of ability to invoice your companies, individuals, your business entities from SBS. We also developed a company contact management for groups. So many of you know that companies are often part of a group. That group of companies may consist of one company, it may consist of 15 companies or even more. But a lot of times they share the same contact. Maybe they all have the same compliance officer or the same service of process contact. So this meant that our regulators were having to come in here and update each company individually. So what we did was we developed a service where you go in and you make that update to one of the companies, and then you can copy it or add it to all the other companies in that group. So here again, we heard from our regulators, this was a pain point for them. They had to have to go in and update each company individually. So we responded with this new management tool where they can go in and update all of those companies within that group all at once, which gives them more time back to do the regulation and the core of what their purpose is in the state. Then we are always trying to expand the company administration portal, providing more services for companies, letting them make sure that their contact information and all their contacts, who is their service of process person or any other contact, is accurate. So at this time, I'd like to ask are there any questions at this time that are unanswered or that I should be aware of?
Hi, Trish. There are no questions that need answered.
Great. All right, then we'll go on. And now let's look at our roadmap. Where's SBS headed? What is in 2024? I know more than half of 2024 is over, so you'll notice that a lot of these things are already in development or on their way. So for our implementation focus, we implemented the state of Guam. Delaware got exams, and Arizona came on to our continuing education services. And just this Monday, Wisconsin implemented investigations. So they're not on the list, but it did happen on, I believe, Monday of this week. We also have our new products. So we talked about Market Regulation V2 and the consumer and company portals. Again, the company portal is in production for one state, and we are working with other states who are interested in that company portal and working through what that implementation process would look like, what kind of communication will need to go out as we roll those out. Then the consumer complaint portal is in development. And I just wanted to take just a moment to let everyone know. In the development of these, we formed some focus groups that included companies, that included people who can represent the interest of the consumer on those portals. So we're making sure we're meeting the needs of as many people and areas as we can. So I think that's just a great benefit of SBS. We're also working on the configurable forms, and the concept of a configurable form is that we have kind of like the ability to add forms in an expedited manner. We know that there's a lot of need out there for individualized collection of data from people outside of SBS, and the states need to collect their information, whether that's from pharmacy benefit managers or some oh, sorry. So we want to be able to, based off the state's needs and the business value that those forms would provide to multiple states, we want to be able to expedite the creation of those, the collection, which will collect data and insert that data into the SBS system where it can be quickly managed. So we can work towards the removal of paper forms on state websites where they enter the data and email it to the state. And then the state takes that paper form or that electronic copy of the form and then enters it into a system. So that's, and we want to be able for those to be somewhat customizable by state. So that's what configurable forms is all around. Now it is limited to the data elements that we have in our system, but anytime that we can help move away from paper and away from manual data entry, we want to assist as much as we possibly can. We have also this project invoicing to make payments and an integration for all entities. So we've had the payment portal for a while, but now we're doing this invoice integration where the states generate an invoice using our our large volume invoicing, send it out to the entities all through email, and then they can join go out to SBS and make that payment on that invoice, and then the regulator knows that invoice has gotten paid. So this is a great effort. We've learned that paper checks slow down the process, and just want to be able to help expedite and make things easier for everyone. Most of us there's probably a few of us, and I am one of them who not that long ago would write a check and put it in the envelope and mail it to my doctor's office. But I don't do that anymore. This is so much easier just to go online into that patient portal and make that payment. Then we have the SBS for organizations. And what are we doing here? We talked about implementing the course roster uploads and that system to system communication. So we are working with one provider, and that working with that provider, we are in kind of a user acceptance testing. So there again, noting we are working with the people that will be working with the system. And we implement the electronic invoicing, payment through the portal. We talked kind of about that up there, but it's also a portion of being able to do it inside and outside of SBS for organizations. And we did talk about expanding that administrative portal. So we want to start to expanding the use by the states, but also the use by the companies and the features and things that they can do to help benefit communication with the regulators and to the public as they do their public lookups on companies. With that, why SBS? So let's look at some of the major 4 factors for why a state would choose SBS. Our number one we have on here is cost. SBS comes to the states at no cost. That is, it comes to the members of the NEIC at no cost. Other systems that you might work at have sometimes smaller, hefty amounts of money that is needed to customize and or administer that and develop that. Now, SBS we come at no cost, and we do try to bring everybody into a uniform system. So we try not to do much customization, but we look at every customized request that we get. We evaluate that again for its business value, how can it benefit other states, and then we communicate with other states and kind of figure out, hey, this is something that we would want to make a change. We would want to provide this value to multiple states, and when we add something that was initiated by one state, we try to get that business value out to all states and not just the one. And the second reason is our growth. Like it says, 2002, it must have been when we started the implementations that kind of got finished in 2003. There were those 4 states that I mentioned, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, and DC. And we've just kind of grown and we continue to grow. We are at, I believe, like 33 states, and we anticipate in 2024 we'll be at 35. So, like again, we are always in communications and discussions with any non-SBS state on what if they would entertain SBS and what are those gaps for um, in SBS that might want them not to use SBS. But we normally are able to go in, talk, and remove those gaps. And in doing so, we add value to all of the states that are already in SBS. Then we have the integration part. So we are integrated with NIPR, opt-ins, SURF, and the NEIC right now. But we are also always looking for different integration points. And we have a few integration points within the NEIC that we don't currently support that we're investigating. What would it take? So we have some regulators that say to us, it would really be nice if you could bring this data from another part of the NEIC into SBS. So we investigate that. We figure out what that level of effort is. And we did kind of, determine the value of doing that. And then the disaster recovery. So in the disaster recovery world, SBS, how SBS will work is you log into SBS. You can be in your DOI or you can be sitting on the beach in Florida, and you can access SBS in production. What that connection, secured connection does with your right and appropriate credentials gains you access to the NEIC. And in that access, um, you find that what the NEIC has done is we have co-location data centers that are connected to. So you're going to probably connect to the data center that is closest to your current location. And those are scattered throughout the United States. So that's where those data centers are located. And one of the So excuse me for just a second. So one of the things that um, I is not on here, but I just kind of wanted to share with everyone is that in my 11 years experience in SBS, one of the things that helps me stay with SBS, be a happy employee, is the ability to help. And what we do in SBS is we uphold the NEIC's initiative to be consumer or customer centric. And some of the ways that SBS does that and allows us to help those states is we do have a product steering committee. Our product I'm a product owner, and there are two others. Michelle Wilson's on the call, and Don Bachman is the other one. We have assigned states. We attempt to meet with those states on a monthly basis to talk about anything that they would like to see happen to the system to make their job, their daily activities easier for them. We document all those enhancements, any issues or concerns that the state may have, and we go over that list. We work with them to prioritize for their state what those items. And then we also guide them to if that desire, that enhancement is large enough that we need to take that to our improvement subcommittee. So we do have an SBS improvement subcommittee that reviews, evaluates, and prioritizes those bigger ticket items that the states do. And that improvement subcommittee, they open up for new requests from the states periodically, and it just helps with making sure we're in line with all the states and all their needs and working on the right thing. Um, and then we also have our help desk, our production support staff. I mean, we have a specific email address that is used just for regulators, that using SBS, and that helps you put it high in the queue. And I think you'll find that we are definitely always here to help as much as we can. And in that POC process that I talked about, if there's an escalated item, an escalated concern, you can bring that forward, and we will help get you the responses and the support that you need as quickly as we possibly can. So I just wanted to kind of share with you. It's not on here, but I feel like that is a really good aspect to why choose SBS. Is there any questions at this time?
Yes, there is one question that we didn't get answered. It says, so configurable forms could be
Mhm.
state specific, meaning it would not be a generic form that all states must use.
That is correct. That's what configurable forms do for you. I didn't elaborate on that, but let me do that now. So currently our online complaint form is generic. It allows for a few minor things to be changed on a state by state basis, like terms or an attestation or an agreement at the end of it. The headers are state specific. But for the most part, the states cannot change that. With configurable forms, we're going to allow for those online complaint forms to be different per state. Now, they will have to contain the minimum data that is required to complete or create a case, a complaint or inquiry case, so that they will have to be able to meet that. But the state will have more input and ability to do that. It's also about being configurable about what form in those forms where they can, where do they go? Does it go into inquiry? Does it go into complaint? Does it go into SOP? Does it go into arbitration? Where do you want them? Because right now the only form that SBS provides is the online complaint form, and it only goes into either inquiry or complaint. And it is a standard form that leaves little room for customization from state to state.
Thank you. That's it. There were a couple other questions, but Michelle took care of those.
Well, thank you, Michelle, once again. This is another great thing. It's great to work with great people, and I always get a lot of support in my daily activities. So we have a little bit of time left, I believe. Trying
We
to.
do. And if someone wants to ask a question verbally, if you want to use the raise your hand feature down at the bottom of your screen, then I can unmute you so you can ask, if that's faster than typing.
Right. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, it would definitely entertain, but I don't really have time to do a full demo at this point, but what I do have is time to show you a couple of screenshots. So what I wanted to do is show you a couple of screenshots that I have here. This is for our consumer portal. So it is a non-login tool. When they complete an online complaint form, they get a case tracking ID, and when they're added to a case by the regulator, they get a case pin. So with those two unique information only provided to them and their last name, they'll be able to get into the consumer portal. When they're in the consumer portal, this is kind of what they will see. They will see some general information about the case and its status, and some complaint information. They would be able to view the online complaint form that they submitted, and this is those direct messages. So they would be able to add a direct message to the regulator, and they would be able to upload an attachment to the regulator. And vice versa is true. Those direct messages can be sent from the regulator to them, and they get a notification. And the regulator could also add and share the attachment with the consumer. So just a quick quick view. I think I have like 1 more minute, so we'll kind of take a quick look at the company. So for company, once again, this one is a login tool. But once in there, it lists out all the states that that company has a complaint in, and then they can open or expand that state, and it lists out all of the complaints that they have for that state. And you can see it tells them who the complainant is, policy numbers, and the status and the date that those complaints were open. So they can help maintain compliance with the turnaround on complaint inquiries. And then there is this summary page, which gives very similar to what is given to the consumer, which also includes those direct messages and attachments that can be added. And again, any note or attachment put in by a regulator does have to have a special step to actually share that with the consumer so that they can have all the notes they want and they don't have to worry about those being exposed. Did we get any other questions in our last few seconds here? All right.
Sorry, we did. I was looking. It said, I assume company complaint info is only available in the company to view.
That's correct. It is restricted to the company view. There is PIN numbers that they have to have in order to see those. So there's a special security process they have to go through in order to be able to see those complaints.
Okay, great. And we're actually a little 1 minute over time, so we'll go ahead and now, unless there's any other content that you think they really need to hear.
I don't, but I just wanted to kind of tease them with that. I wanted to kind of squeeze that in. So thank you for your extra time.
Okay, thanks so much, Trish. And thank you to all of you that have joined our pre-conference sessions. And we hope to see you all in person next week at the conference. Have a great day.
Thank you.